another live. And this time I'm going to talk about what the hell is going on? Sorry about that. My screen was doing a little green screen. Anyways, so back to this live. So yeah, I was just planning on avoiding this conversation between this confrontation between Stephen A. Smith and LeBron James. I was gonna avoid this topic because I already kind of was beating a dead horse at this point, because everybody, in the sports media and YouTube, all the podcasters, everybody has talked about this whole thing. So, and I wanted to just kind of like avoid it and really give my own take on it. Um, so basically, Stephen A. had conversation with LeBron James during the next game. He told me to mind what I had to say about his son. He was saying that LeBron's son, Bronny James, was not ready to be in the NBA and play professional sports. He said, Stephen A., that was LeBron James coming up to me unexpectedly and might add to confront me about making sure that what I mind and what I say about his son. Can't repeat the words because they ain't suited for FCC airways. That's what he was doing. And I thought long and hard about this over the last few years because I had no intentions when he told about the calmness. And after talking about this at all, and the reason why is because it was a one-on-one, and I wouldn't say a conversation, but it was a one-on-one confrontation. But then I woke up and everybody from ESPN, my agent, and everybody else was telling me that this thing had gone viral, and so it ultimately was unavoidable, and this is why I had to discuss it now. That wasn't a basketball player confronting, that was a parent. That was a father, and I can't just sit there and be angry or feel slighted by LeBron James in any way in regard. By all accounts, he's obviously a wonderful family man, a wonderful father who cares very deeply about his son. Based on some of the comments that he heard, or shall I say, thought he had heard, he clearly took exception and took some of the things that he heard me say and confronted me about it. For the record, his agent friend Rich Paul has my number. Maverick Carter, who works on him, has my number. LeBron James knows how to get in contact if he wants to. He never called because he wanted to talk to me, and I have accepted in that call. He wanted to see me, and I had flown out, and I would have seen him, and then I would have had a conversation man to man, but this is not what he elected to do. Instead, he elected to confront me while I was sitting courtside. As you can see the picture there. And so this is where Stephen A. Smith was giving a response, and here's some of the guys. Oh, never mind. These are not the guys. These are just guys who basically these are updates. So, yeah, my thoughts about this whole Stephen A. and LeBron confrontation, it's like he kind of really was saying things that most of the majority of the LDBC guys and, majority of the black YouTube media, the black Twitter was kind of going on about and saying in general, and was kind of going to the standpoint of like, dude, LeBron, your son was not ready to be involved in professional sports. The game is different. It's trials, tribulations. And the only reason they made these kind of moves, Jeannie Buss and Rob Pelinka made these kind of moves because they wanted you to stay in LA and they want you to get that veteran contract. And that's the only reason why they got your son to play with you on the Lakers, because you're aging, you're turning 40, and they didn't want to end up disappointing you or making you feel some kind of way in light of the fact that you are at this point, on your way out of there. You're on your way out, and so it was trying to come to the reaping of your benefit, and abundantly speaking, was coming to the aid for you. It's because your way, you pretty much is on your way out of the league. So they was just trying to reap the benefit. And I kind of told you, the problem with your son is he does not have the overall drive, durability. His shot selection is poor, it's terrible. He doesn't shoot that good from the free throw line at all. It just seemed like he hasn't really fully developed. And coming straight out of high school, you thinking that he's gonna follow in the shadows of your footsteps, and that's not how it always works. in my opinion. And it really just kind of just shows you, LeBron, you got to put the side of just be, you are a really good family man. You are, a good parent. Don't get me wrong, but you got to put the family and the whole situation and the credibility and all that put aside and really assess the whole situation straight up and down how it is. And by the way, when they was talking about you, you had you had a injury like to your lower leg calf muscle and all that. But I really was seeing earlier on in a couple other videos where, and a couple of clips that been going around on YouTube, you was at your son Bryce's game. So was you really injured? Was you really hurt? I just don't know. I'm gonna roll to a little bit of some stuff that I read too. So when he was acknowledging not only about confronting him about his son, he also made some comments on ESPN talking about refused to acknowledge that LeBron as the GOAT. Stephen A refused to acknowledge him as the GOAT while crowning MJ in his intense view. And again, like you already know how I feel. If anybody doesn't know how I feel, I was gonna say I've always taken MJ over LeBron. Not because I've seen both of them play or anything, on that nature. It's just to me, I don't believe in this whole ordeal of like, you go off of stats. Look, Michael Jordan is a 10-time scoring champion. He was selected the All-Star 14 times in his career. Never once not selected first team All-NBA, first team, and never once was selected on the second team. He was always off All-NBA first team all of his years. And yes, he was 1-9 in the Eastern Conference and was getting eliminated, getting beat up, and the Bulls getting beat by the Bucks, Milwaukee Bucks, with Sidney Moncrief, Terry Cummings, and all of them. And then, of course, Ricky Pierce as well. Then, of course, the Celtics with Bird, Parrish, Kevin McHale, Danny Ainge, and all of them. Then the Detroit Bad Boy Pistons with Isaiah Thomas. So yeah, in LeBron's era, yeah, he run through some teams in the Eastern Conference, but not like the teams in the Eastern Conference competitively as the ones that Jordan was facing off in the 80s. So that's why people look at Jordan's competition as way more cerebral and way more, fearful of him, of Jordan, of MJ, more than they fear of what LeBron's doing. And just like overall, it kind of just makes it seem when Stephen A says this, about claiming why LeBron is no go. He denied James' allegations, but it is no move to calm down after LeBron James walked up to him and gave him an earful when the Lakers played the New York Knicks on March the 6th. On the show, he addressed his rapport with James, saying, "We don't get along, and there are a multitude of reasons why I alluded to some of them. But we all know the biggest reason is I ain't Shannon Sharp. It ain't goal status this way. My goal is Michael Jordan. I watch the game. I'm a student of the game, and I know the GOAT when I see one." He expressed this on his own show. And if I didn't highlight anything, also when he said the feud between him and him and LeBron, as series is far from over, he had made the feud refusing to give any comments to him. And the controversy between the two began when James felt like it confronted him. Yeah. So there's some more coming from that. Let me see if there's anything else. Also, I'm just looking at the articles, guys. Daily Mail talked about this as well. So, anyways, the words and the thoughts that what he was saying, he said, "You see me, I don't run, I don't hide it. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And if I'm right, I say I'm right." He said, "I was never crapping on Bronny James. I wouldn't do that to James's family. And I was talking about one person and one person only. We may never speak in life again. I'm fine with it. I get paid to talk about folks, not to them." And as you can see, between them, confrontation goes on. I cover the league. You play. I watch. I just analyze and broadcast. He continued. You don't want You don't have drama. You you don't we don't gotta communicate. We damn sure don't have to say hello to each other, and you don't have to do none of that. And Stephen A. Smith had previously said he didn't feel angry or excited about James' comments towards him. And as I read before, he said, "I don't give a f what he talks about. I'm pleading to you as a father. I can't." James is currently dealing with a groin injury and has not played since March the 8th. Bronny, who has switched between the NBA and the G League this season, is averaging just 1.7 points per game for the Lakers and played on a season high 16 minutes last week against the Nuggets. So yeah, that just goes to show you that, this overall just is a failed experiment from the jump, from the beginning. And you got to really look at, in my eyes, just that he was never ready from the jump. And like I said, the Lakers only did this because they wanted to please and assure and come to the aid of of their star player that kind of got them the bubble the bubble championship with Anthony Davis now back in 2020 with KCP and Rondo and Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee and all them. So they kind of wanted to really protect their investment right now, protect their what they've invested in, what they shared the time in, knowing that this time is going to be up. But then at the same time, you trade veteran player in their prime like Anthony Davis and Max Christie, a young star, for Luka Doncic, kind of just showing you that, yeah, although you want to protect your investment on one end, you want to go younger, you want to beat, and you want to stay younger at the end of the day to try to continue to ride high off of just the sheer point of riding off into that sunset. So yeah, these are just my thoughts overall, like, of this situation. um Kind of just goes to show you that you can't always rely on just just sheer talent and athleticism, sheer bred of talent and athleticism to get you to drive you going by things, and if I didn't get into my point about what I said about having MJ over LeBron, you know, yes, he has played 22 years. He's way over the 40,000 career point mark, about as close as he's gonna get to the 50,000 career point mark. I don't think anybody's gonna catch up with that. And is dominant in all five all-time career statistical categories with assists, rebounds, blocks, and all these things. So he is like breaking all kinds of records statistically. But I can never really get over the fact that you're have a losing record combined, not necessarily losing combined of how many finals you get to, losing career record in the finals in 4 and 6, like your NBA like finals career, like overall, you're like worse than what Wilt Chamberlain is. And people criticize Wilt Chamberlain, for only being 2 and 4 and only winning 2 championships and been to like 6 finals. So people criticize Wilt Chamberlain for being 2 and 4, right? But I don't never hear this same venom and tenacity and just overall sheer points from or at LeBron because of him breaking these statistical records. But I'm like, well, Chamberlain broke these statistical records too at this time, and if they ever had a chance to record them, it would have been a vastly different scenario, a vastly different situation. So, it goes to show you that there's always still going to be guys that have found their way to currently have just found their way of excessive hate. And I really, really think that we gotta put everything into terms. Like, is the fans, is the current NBA fans, the casual sports fans, are they really about just statistics? Are they really about liking their favorite player? Are they really going off of career wise, or going off of as a total package? Going off the total package, going off of just the body of work versus going off of just one side of the coin, one flip side of the coin. And two-way players, I mean, yeah, we know LeBron is a two-way player, but we going off of just overall, like, Are you going off? Are we going off a total package? Or are we really going off a body of work? That's the question that really just kind of is up in the air for discussion. So yeah, those are my thoughts about the whole Stephen A. Smith and LeBron interaction earlier on, and then of course the whole going on the GOAT, the greatest player of all time, which um, and if we had to choose between those, yeah, I'm gonna definitely go with MJ over LeBron because of what he's done in a short career span of time. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Tell me what you guys think down in the comment section. For those of you who was watching, thank you. Who those are watching, or who were, um, yeah, and I am out.